All right, we're back another year. The San Diego County Fair. Yay! My first presentation of the fair today is called Toning It Down. I'm going to give a little bit of information as to what that is, but I'm going to share with you a little bit more as to who I am. This is my website, chromeolution.com. And all those who are on my mailing list here, I will send you information on where to go and research me out more. But if you go to my showcase digital art, show you a little bit of what I do. Let's There we go. It's slowly coming up because of our Wi-Fi here connection is probably not as fast as I like it to be. These are digital paintings. So those are not photographs that I drew or paint over. They're actually drawn from scratch in Photoshop. Okay, so I always try to keep those drawing skills up as well. So all this is created from scratch in Photoshop. There's another example, and yet another example. Okay. I am the president of the San Diego Photoshop Users Group. We're about 5,000 members, and we are the largest Photoshop users group, Adobe sanctioned photographic users group in the country. So we're an official Adobe user group right here. So we meet online. Being on the mailing list will also make you a member automatically. And the presentations that we have monthly are free. Our next presentation is here at the fair. I believe it's on July 4th. So come, well, yeah, come back on July 4th live, and we got two presenters. One's a digital painter, another one's a photographer. Okay. Here's some other examples of my work where I'm combining photography and digital painting and a little bit of everything together to create stuff that's kind of unique. I'm also a judge here at the fair. So I judge the digital arts and compositing um, portion of the competition.
How long does it take you to do one? I know it varies.
It varies. Definitely, it varies. Some are quicker than others.
But what's an average?
An average, oh gosh, I don't know. It can be anywhere from a week to a month, or maybe a couple of days
To do one.
to do one. And
When you say a couple of days, how many hours in the day do you work on it in that day?
I don't keep track. So the question is, how many hours in a day do I work on all of this? I don't keep track of this. I start to create and I listen to my heart. My heart tells me when I'm done. And but you go here, take a look at this on your own. I teach workshops. Some people here who may have won a special award from the Photoshop Users Group. And in these workshops, I have both photography and Photoshop. So photography workshops, the two that are coming up is the Eastern Sierra, where we're going to be based in Mammoth Lakes. The colors at that time of year in October are just off the charts outstanding. So there's vibrant yellows, greens, just fiery color everywhere that you shoot. We got Bodie Ghost Town involved in that particular shoot. We've got Mono Lake, the Mono Lake Tufas, if you've heard of those, which are absolutely beautiful. Then we have Death Valley in November 11th. Okay, and I'll bring down the name of the site so you can get the actual link to go to. So sign up for these. These are 4-day workshops, and they include a Photoshop class. Okay. Now, the other workshops that I teach, and the one that's coming up is going to be the one that's going to be related to today's presentation, which is value-based workflow, and that's the advanced Photoshop. So I don't know if anybody here consider themselves advanced or intermediate or advanced, but if you don't, we also have the beginning, the introduction of Photoshop workshop, which starts in July, which starts right after the fair ends. So the fair ends July 4th. This starts July, I think it's like 24th, somewhere around there.
Weeks is it?
It's 5 weeks. It's a 5-week class. Every class is recorded.
Is it a morning class or an evening
The
class?
evening classes after work hours, because most of the people taking it are professionals, photographers who know nothing about
Like
Photoshop.
6 to 9,
7 to 9 for 5 weeks. Yeah. So after work hours and after work traffic. Okay. So intermediate with the Wacom tablet, that starts up when the beginning ends. So once you take the beginning class, you're now prepared to go into the intermediate class. Okay. So shall we go play?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go play. You're welcome to come. I actually have promo cards with all this information on it, but I left it at home. So, but I'll be back again. I'll have them with me. We'll bring them back again. No, I'll come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's is the judges roundtable discussion. Be here for that. If you want to learn more about what the judges, how the judges are thinking and they're judging this fair, how they're judging the fair, what they're looking for, be here.
What time?
7 o'clock? Yes, 7 to 9.
It's tomorrow too. isn't it?
Tomorrow. It's tomorrow, 7 to 9.
Oh.
So be here for that. Like if you entered something and it didn't get in, but you entered something else that did get in, you want to know why? Be here. Okay? That's how we're going to learn. All right. We're going to go back to Ansel Adams. Ansel Adams mastered the black and white medium of photography. And what he was trying to teach us was this concept called the zone system. And the zone system was about mastering tones or values. Painters call it values, photographers call them tonal information. And I just created a custom little chart here where on the left-hand side you can see your various colors, pure colors. As you go down, we're looking at density, 75% density, 50% density added to these pure colors, and this is what they look like. All right, if you go down to 25% density, and then pure brightness, which is pure white, right? So now what we're doing here in this chart is take pure color with devoid of all density, right? Devoid of value, and then add that value to it. This is what you're getting. Now, why am I talking about this? Because your best color is not derived by manipulating color. It's derived by manipulating values, and I'm going to prove that to you in the next few minutes. You're going to watch me go through it. And I'm going to show you a very basic, simple approach to it, but in the advanced class, we go much deeper. All right, so we're looking at values here. Let's take a look at this chart. Oh, I got a little, pull this one on open. Yeah, sure. Sit wherever you feel comfortable.
Pretty better.
Oh, she said she's more comfortable there.
No, to hear.
Oh, to hear? Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? We forgot to ask Lois about the speakers.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do that when she comes back. Don't forget. All right, so we're looking at a range of values to improve upon your color. So this is our problem. We buy a digital camera, right? Doesn't matter what brand name. We go out and take the picture. Well, what's the product from that camera?
Red, green, blue.
That's what red, green, and blue information. You're getting a full color image, right? So we've gotten in some really bad habits, and it's mostly by the fault of the industry. That you don't need to know this stuff. You just need to buy a camera and take a picture and do a few simple little adjustments and you're done. All right? My suggestion is learn to do it the right way. And that by understanding the black and white values first. Master, take the color out of the way because color has become a crutch. Color has become a negative. Take it completely out. Manipulate the values and get some outstanding color. I'm going to prove that to you. You're going to watch me do it. So this chart here, okay, is a system of values. Okay, absolute black going all the way up to medium gray. Okay, so this range of values are intermediates of this 3 range right down here in the middle. This whole range from black to the very end is this black to that gray right there. So in between those 2 ranges, right, is all of these that exist. The same thing for the whites. Look at the first 3 whites. This black, this white here, and then that gray there is at the very end. And these are all the intermediaries in between. These intermediaries is what we have a tendency to completely ignore. All right, so let's go put this to practice real quick, okay? Let's choose, I think, I'm going to come in here and take a quick look. Yes, okay, this is a good one. We're going to use this one here, okay? In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll choose this one, my develop settings, and clear those settings. There we go. Now they're both the same. So we're going to one side by side, and we're going to see what we can do with it. I want to take a look at something else real quick. Okay. Now, the techniques I'm going to use is the exact same techniques you're going to use in Lightroom. I'm going to use Adobe Camera Raw. Lightroom is nothing but Adobe Camera Raw and Bridge put together in one program with a database added to it. All right, so I shot this picture in San Luis Obispo, and this was the side of a restaurant wall. I'm going to hit the space bar here. This is the side of a restaurant wall. This is what the camera has produced for me. And tell me about this image. What is your feeling about what's going on in this image? Talk to me about the tonal values here. Is it too flat, too much contrast, too much color, not enough color? What's your feeling? What? No answer? Not quite sure how to answer? And I understand that, because we're relying too much on what the sensor has given us. The sensor is giving you a lot of mid-tone information because the manufacturer wants to ensure that you produce the best exposure possible. So instead of favoring higher contrast images or lower tonal range images, it wants you to have a nice mid-tone continuous range, which means you're getting a very flat image. All right, so let's bring this in Adobe Camera Raw and let's explore this a little bit. I'm inside a Bridge, and I'm gonna hit Control or Command R to bring myself into Adobe Camera Raw. The nomenclature and the order of all of this is exactly the same as Lightroom, no different. Because all Lightroom is Adobe Camera Raw and Bridge put together in one program. The problem we photographers have right now is that color is in the way.
The way how?
You're going to find out.
Okay.
Color is in the way. So you're thinking, okay, this is a fairly decent, you think fairly decent contrast. It has some depth to it. No, it doesn't. And the reason you feel that there's any depth here is because of the color, because color is in your way. Let's remove the color out. So we're going to come down here to the color section. You're going to notice that it's divided up in sections. We got the light, we've got the color, and then we've got the effects. So we're going to go over to the color first, and we're going to eliminate the color. Is everybody watching? So I'm going to go to saturation and take the color completely out. Now, does it feel like it has a lot of depth or contrast? No, it's flat, very flat. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start massaging the tones. And if I come up here to the top, you can see these are pretty dark in here. There's detail and information here, but it's hard to see, right? Okay. We're going to really work these tones and then produce a superior color. The first thing I want to do is I want to pull out that lower mid-tone information. In other words, the reason why it's all muddy back in here, it's hard to see, is because there's a little bit of that darker medium gray spread out over the entire image, and it's particularly affecting these lower areas. So what you're going to do is you're going to start up here into the light section. All right, let's understand what's going on with the light section here. We're dealing with shadows, midtones, highlights. Shadows, midtones, highlights. The exposure is increasing the brightness of your shadows, midtones, and highlights equally together. Or it will darken those same shadows, midtones, and highlights equally together all at one time. I'm going to double click here on this icon to reset it back to 0. Contrast is going to pull the shadows and midtones further apart from one another. As I pull it to the right, the brights get brighter, the shadows get darker. Go to the left, the whites get darker and the shadows get brighter. I'm going to double click it and set it back. Contrast is the devil. Never use it.
Don't ever use contrast.
Don't ever use contrast. I'm going to show you why. I'm not going to just tell you not to do it. I'm going to show you why you shouldn't use it. Because what we're trying to do here is separately control your shadows, midtones, and highlights independently. Let you, the artist, control those areas. All right. We go to the highlights. The highlights is targeting only one area, just the brighter areas. These tones right up here in your histogram, these brighter tones here. So if I go to the right, you see them increase, but it's only affecting the highlights. That is it. All right, I'm going to double click it to reset it back. Inversely, the shadows is only affecting the shadows. That is it. You see where we're going with this? All right, if I double click it to reset it back, the whites are the extreme whites. Make an extreme effect on the highlights only, or bring them down in the highlights only. Double click it to reset it back. And the blacks, it's the extreme blacks. Bring them up or bring them down. It's only affecting the shadow areas. Double click it to reset it back as well. Now let's go work it. Let's get detail on these lower tones. We're going to go over here to shadows and pull them up. See? So if let me reset it real quick. Let me just click back here, pull it on up so we can focus on this and bring up the shadows. See that?
It lightens it.
It lightens up the shadow details areas. That's right. You can see the dirt in the window, which is there. We just couldn't see it before. All right, now if I go back, Control 0, we can see all the shadow areas have come up. If we go anywhere in this image, right, we can see we've got detail in these lower tonal areas. That's a good thing. All right, now, by bringing up the shadows, immediately your eye picks up the fact that the highlights are brighter a little bit, or at least they appear to be brighter. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the highlights slider and bring it down to here. See? Now, in essence, what are we doing? We're flattening it out more, but with the purpose. We're flattening it out so that we're gaining great detail on the highlights and wonderful information in the shadow details. This is a good thing. Okay, now if we have to go to the whites and bring them down a little more, the extreme highlights, See? Getting a little more information. It's hard to tell up there. I'm gonna let you guys look at my laptop when we're done.
Are you looking at the photo or the histogram when you're doing
I'm looking at the photo.
Oh.
So I get that a lot. It's like, well, what if the histogram says this? It's like, who gives a damn about the histogram? Right? We're not scientists. We're artists.
Yeah, right. That's
Right?
what I think.
Right? So don't, like, if you get a white wall with black graffiti on it, what is the histogram going to look like?
Yeah.
It's going to be black over here and white over here and nothing in the middle. Who cares?
So you don't care about that?
No. No. So now we go to our blacks, do the same thing. If we need a little more information in the blacks, I can pull up the blacks a little bit or pull them down. I'm going to keep the blacks where they are. All right.
So you let your eye be the judge?
You're going to let your eye be the judge. You need to train your eye. You know why? The problem that I have with a lot of the imagery on the wall here is their composition is outstanding. You can see the great passion and love that the photographer has for his craft, but his post-processing is weak.
So
Right?
your personal preference just isn't any more black, because I was thinking a little black would be.
Hold on a minute. Don't start making judgments yet. We're not done. We're not done. This is a process.
I see.
We're working this.
I mean, you might come back to black later, maybe.
Very good.
I see.
Not yet, but you will. So I might bring up a little of the blacks, just a little bit more, just to get a little more detail in these little areas. I think I like that right about there. I'm using my eye. You're learning to train your eye to be more sensitive to what's going on in the photograph. And the great way to train your eye is to go to the museums and look at the master photographer's work and see what good photography looks like. If you don't do that, you're going to fail at improving your abilities.
Can you recommend a good photography museum that we can go look at?
Well, you got the MOPA here in San Diego, but I go up in LA to a place called the Bergamot Station.
Never heard of it.
And it's a huge industrial complex. The galleries are all free, and they've got a black and white collector. He collects all the famous photographers' work, and you can go in there and ask him and take a look at anything. He'll take it out and show it to you.
Nice.
Bergamot Station. Let's tell you, let's go online and look it up real fast.
Bergamot Station.
Bergamot Station. And Bergamot Station, Santa Monica, right there. That's it. They've got painting galleries. They've got modern fine art galleries. There's your photographic galleries. So yeah, check that out. There's Ansel's work there. Peter Fetterman. That's the one that's the collector of all the masters' black and white work. Okay. So all right. So let's go back to what we're doing. All right. So now we've got detail. The goal here was to gain a lot of detail in our black and white image. The goal here is to produce a much more fabulous black and white image. We're going to close up the color for now. We're going to go down to the effects. And we've got some extra sliders here that are going to be very important for this process. And see, Tony's coming to haunt us now. Okay. So we have something here called dehaze. So let's talk about what dehaze is. So you in the photograph, say you take my Death Valley class, and you get your tripod and you set it up, and you got these mountains way in the back in the landscape, and you've got the sand dunes way in the front. And as you go further back in the landscape, what do you start to see?
Haze.
Haze. A lot of haze. So what is that haze doing to your scene?
Blocking.
Tony, blocking what? It's blocking it, but blocking what?
The background.
It's blocking what value system?
The details are.
The details derived from what? Remember, shadows, midtones, highlights. Get that in. That's your mantra. Shadows, midtones, highlights. That's what makes a black and white photograph. The shadows work like the bass in music.
Just blocking shadows.
So it's blocking. It's bringing up the shadows and not touching the highlights. So if I go to dehaze and say go the opposite direction this way, it brings up the shadows, brightness, doesn't touch the highlights, and you get haze.
Uh-huh.
Because all haze is the water molecules floating around in the air, magnifying the light, which is bringing up your shadow details. Is that making sense? So visually, that's what's going on. So what dehaze does is it only targets the extreme shadow details, and when we go to the right, we get dehaze. But look at what's happening here. Even if I bring it over just a little bit more, right? Look at what's happening. That detail in these areas here, we've got it.
It brings it out.
It brings it out. It wasn't there before, right? Right? It brings it out, right? Everywhere where there was shadow, if we go right over here, like, oops, I didn't mean to do that one. Let's go to cancel that. I hate it when I do that. I got to go back and do it again. My fault. Go back to bridge and Control R. There we go. All right, now I accidentally hit cancel and took it away. I'll do it over again. So we go back to our color, and we're going to do what? No color, completely out. Bring up the shadows, right? Bring it all the way up. Bring down the highlights, right? I think that'll hit that pretty close
Those
to.
two act opposite to each other.
That's right. So you bring up the shadows. There's my detail in the shadows. Sometimes you have to go all the way. It depends on your image. Every image is unique. Right? So white, so I might want to bring that down a little more. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Now we'll go over here to our dehaze and pull it in. See?
Sharpens it up.
Sharpens it up. And did we add sharpening to it?
No, you just
No. Why?
They just
Bec-
used it.
Because we're learning to master the tones. It's the tones that's going to determine the quality of your image, not the color. So it sharpens up like crazy, and then, all right, so dehaze is essentially adding a type of contrast to your lower tonal areas. And as I get in closer, go to my hand tool here, somewhere in here. There we go. Right there. Okay. Let's get out of that. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to get in a little closer and we can take a look at this. Look at that. Did we have this type of texture on the wall before? No. Didn't exist. All right. Look at that.
know it was a close-up picture.
That's right. Okay, we bring it out. Now it's going to get more interesting. So, dehaze reintroduces your deeper shadow tone. Now, when we were messing around with shadows and highlights separately, we neglected the midtones, the medium gray midtone areas, for the 18% gray card gray that we photographers worship for giving us proper exposure. Clarity targets only the midtones. That's it. You're starting to see why contrast is the devil now? We're learning to control every single value range separately, independently. So if I go to clarity and bring it to the left, it softens it up. However, if I bring it to the right,
You see more of the stucco with the green.
there you go. Now look at that. Now that's beautiful.
To the right, what does it do?
To the right, it's gonna add contrast to the midtone areas. And you're starting to see subtle transitions of grays in this particular painting here, where we didn't see that before. All right, so we're not done. So shadows, midtones, highlights. Shadows, midtones, highlights. Dehaze, shadows. Clarity, midtones. Texture, what? Highlights. So the texture, it's going to target only the highlights to add contrast only to the highlights. So watch it closely. I'm going to pull it to the right. See that? Can everybody see that? Yeah. You don't want too much, just enough to get it to pop. That's interesting. Just enough to see it to pop. Okay, so once again, that's the disadvantage of photographers compared to a painter. The painter starts with a value system, drawing and etching, values of shades of gray, and then adds the color last. We're doing it backwards as photographers. So what's happening in the digital world, we're getting into some really bad habits. And our work that doesn't really, is not award winning, because the reason Ansel's work was award winning went beyond the composition of his work. It was what he did in the dark room. His post processing is what made it award winning. So now we're ready to add the color. So again, this is just a simple approach. In the advanced class, we're going to be getting into something I'm going to mention in just about another minute. So now we can go back to color. Yeah, go for it.
So should we take our pictures and take all the color out and then go through this process? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Then add the colors.
Then add the color.
Wow.
So once this is done, we'll say this is close. This for our 1 hour presentation. This is what we're going to stop right about here for the value, for the black and white information. So I call it value based. It's black and white based manipulation. Now we go back to our color. And we go back to saturation. Now remember, saturation was right there. Is everybody watching? She's not watching. Okay. So the saturation was right there, but 0. Look at where we are now. So what's going on here?
Well, the blues came up first.
Right, the blues came up first. Good observation. Probably naturally, because we enhanced the shadow details. The shadow details have a tendency to encompass blues. If you take a picture in a shaded area, what color dominates that shaded area? Blue. Yeah, blue.
But your colors are so much brighter and they're not up to the middle.
Very interesting.
You can actually see stuff in the window. It looks like the window has window tint on it, but
Yeah.
can still see inside.
You can still see inside.
Yes. Before
Wow,
they just
that's
black it out.
interesting.
Isn't that interesting? So what's going on here? Even if I bring it over a little bit more, it's starting to get too garish now, right? We got all this extra. What is this telling you?
Well, you enhance the shadows and all that behind it, so it makes the colors brighter as you bring them up.
This is telling us that we have a lot more information pixel-wise available to us in this file. The higher you go in saturation, the closer to 255 white you're going on the digital scale in terms of color. 0 is black, 255 is white, and RGB separate colors. Pure color is 255, go close, well, higher up there. So you get closer to 255 is white. It's highlights with no detail. So we have a lot more information available to us now. And why does Photoshop work this way? Because Photoshop doesn't work in RGB. Never did.
What does it work at?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
It doesn't work in CMYK. It works in LAB, lab. Lightness, which is your values, and 2 channels A and B of color. So when we remove the saturation out, Photoshop immediately thought, oh, no color. Okay, I'm just going to work the L channel, the lightness channel. That's what it's doing. And it left the color alone, didn't touch the color. So all your manipulation, when you manipulate things, you're throwing out information. But because we're only dealing with the lightness channel and not touching the color, it's giving us more information to work with. So when we print this image, it's going to have a lot more detail in it. We're going to see more detail.
Because you did the black and white stuff.
Because I focused on the values first, the black and whites first, right, and ignored the color. I didn't touch the color.
Yeah.
The color has not been touched.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
The very different approach. Okay, now in the advanced class, I show you how to be creative with this. This is just a stupid, simple example on how to start with an improved image before you get into Photoshop. But the advanced class get into how to use the values to make your stuff expressive. Expressive. Yeah, well, not just exquisite, expressive, right?
Are the principles the same like in the Apple editing program?
Okay, so your question is, are the principles the same in what Apple editing
The
program?
Apple editing program or in another one besides Photoshop?
Yes, it depends on the program and how it's written. Right? Photoshop is unique because it has the power to identify the values and the colors and everything else under
So
the
you
sun.
should learn Photoshop.
You learn Photoshop, that's industry standard. And Photoshop is inexpensive now. The photographers, what's the photographer's deal? Is it $20 a month? I thought, so what happened to the photographer's deal that was $9.99 a month? Is it still there?
Yeah, but it gives you only 20 gigs in cloud space.
Of cloud space.
$20 one gives you the terabyte.
But who cares about cloud space? So get to $9.99 a month. It includes Photoshop, Lightroom. Yeah, both.
They have a 990 photo. That's for photographers.
Yeah, that's the standard photographer's deal. It's not a special deal. That's standard commercial photographer's deal.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so we do a side-by-side comparison. All right, before, after, before, after. You can look in the window alone.
So we could do that with any of our pictures.
That's what I'm going to show you another one. We're going to pick something else, something more practical.
Okay.
So, all right, let's do this. Let's go and pick, how about something like that? That's a nice little nature shot I took up on my Eastern Sierra workshop. All right, so, and this is an actual raw file. They're both the same thing. This one got manipulated a little bit, so I'm going to right-click on this one, go to my develop settings, and clear the settings so they're both exactly the same. Okay, let's work on that one. So Control R for raw. Go into Adobe Camera Raw. One of a good habit you want to get into is go down to your optics, remove chromatic aberration. Everybody understands what that is, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, chromatic. All right. You should. You've been to these plenty of times. Well, chromatic operate when the light ray. Okay, when you look at the edges of your photographic images, do you ever see like a little bit of a magenta outline or a yellow outline, little edge distortion? That's because when the light ray hits your lens, it refracts. It breaks it up into red, green, and blue, magenta, yellow light. The more money you spend on your lens, the less of that problem you're going to have. But if you spend a few $100s on the lens, it's going to refract more. So what this does is it brings that red, green, and blue light right back into balance. So just let Photoshop do it for you. Don't try to figure it out manually.
So you just click on remove.
Just click on remove chromatic aberration. So chromatic meaning color, and aberration meaning that aberration along the edge of your image. Okay, so now use profile correction. So it's going to recognize my camera. There's my lens. It's my Sigma. I have a 50 to 500 millimeter lens, which I love. I just bought a new Fuji 50 millimeter medium format digital camera. Had to spend $500 on an adapter, but I can use all my lenses as my medium format camera now.
Nice.
Just saying. He's not impressed. So yeah, so recognize. So that what that does is it corrects any distortion that the lens may cause. You may like the results, you may not. It's up to you to decide. Before,
you click
after.
both boxes.
The use profile correction and remove chromatic aberration. All right, now we're gonna go to work. What's the first thing we do?
Black and white.
That's right, black and white, and remove the color. Right, you both saying the same thing, yeah. So we're gonna remove the color, get it out of there, and immediately you can see what type of depth was actually there. You couldn't see this with color because color was in the way. It was in your way the entire time. So now let's get in close, kind of zoom in close, take a look at these details, and let's bring up the shadows. Go to my shadows, pull up that detail. See what's happening back here? Now if we get in a little closer, so if I go back and forth, see? The goal here is to ensure that you're able to see detail in your lower tonal range areas. All right, so I'll look around. I'm thinking, okay, that's cool. Maybe I'll go to my blacks and see what I can pull a little bit of that out. That looks good.
You're taking the black out.
Yes, I'm taking it out
Right.
by going to the right. In other words, I'm brightening up the lower tonal details. From because this is only targeting the low tones. Right? So if I do this, you can see it's only affecting the lower tonal areas. So now if I bring it back and look at the whole thing, I'm thinking, okay, we got a lot of white in here, right? A lot of brightness. So we're losing detail in the brighter areas. So go to the highlights and bring them down and see what happens. Okay, it brought it down a little bit. This one's going to be a tough one. This one's going to be a tough one. But I go to the whites. Okay, this one's going to be a tough one because these whites are pretty bright. It's an extreme contrast. But that's okay. We don't panic. We're getting a very, very flat image. I'm going to come up to exposure. I think because of what I have here, it affords me the ability to bring down the exposure just a little bit, like that. Okay, that works.
So that makes it pop more, doesn't it?
Well, it's not popping yet. We don't want it to pop yet. We want it to be very flat. The reason we're making it flat is to ensure that we see a lot of detail in the highlights and a lot of detail in the shadows. So right now it's gonna look like it sucks. We want it to suck right now. At this stage, we're gonna make it. That's right. So if I get it in here closer, we can see some of the highlights. I'm going to need the help of Photoshop to deal with a lot of this, and I'll show you that next in this image. But now we're ready to go down here to the Effects tab and go to our dehaze.
Wow,
Wow, big difference.
that's amazing.
See? So just, oops.
So you often pick like a section of the photo as opposed to looking at the whole image and trying to do a dehaze? Like you're looking at the grass and the water as opposed to maybe up in the trees? Or how do you decide?
I'm looking at everything.
Okay, but on that,
I just happen to be here because I wanted to see what the effect was going to be between this grassy area and up here.
Uh-huh.
But I'm going to come up and I'm going to look at everything. You don't ignore anything in your photograph. You're responsible as an artist to make sure everything works together. Because the judges are going to know it.
Right, which is why I was wondering why you weren't looking at the whole picture.
Oh, no, I was looking at the whole picture. You just thought I wasn't looking at the whole picture.
No,
I've
but-
done this presentation 100 times.
Oh, I see, but all we could see was the grass and the water that you were
Right.
chasing. Okay, I see what happened.
So you were confused. I wasn't.
Maybe I should stop asking.
No, I'm just teasing you. It's no fun unless I can pick on somebody. So we go to dehaze. Look at the dehaze. It's kind of far over because this image kind of requires it. All right, now, but I tell you, we don't panic, right? Because we have what? We still have to deal with the midtones contrast, which is clarity. So I'll pull it back a little more so it makes a little more sense to everybody. Actually, I want to go to there. Now, go to clarity, pull it over to the right a little bit. There we go. Now we have texture, right? That's going to target only the brighter areas. Pull it to the right. See that there? Now, this I want to get in a little closer because I want to be able to see that detail. Shall we go with that?
Yeah,
I
the trunk's
see-
coming out pretty good.
I see kind of blue when you pull it up. There's
No blue. You know what? Your monitor. I probably should turn my laptop around. When we're done with this one, I'll let you guys see the laptop. It's very different. Okay, now we'll go back to the. Now we're ready to go back to the color. You see, you can actually see the depth in here now. Isn't that interesting?
We see that before.
Yeah, sure.
Can you do a side by side?
Yeah, I'll do that now. And if you want a little extra saturation, if you think you want a little bit, use the vibrance, not the saturation. So if we go to the vibrance and pull it to the right just slightly, gives a little extra color pop in there.
Vibrant does.
Oh, no, I'm just saying if you wanted to. If you feel you need a little more extra saturation, use the vibrance. Because saturation is dealing with all your three colors. This is dealing with a percentage of the colors. Not all 100% of the color in your image. So if I go done, look at the difference.
I have a question.
Oh.
I see a lot of blue in there. If I wanted to tone out some of the blue.
Yeah.
And leave the other color. I love the richness of the trees, the bark and all that jazz.
Right.
But there's a little bit too much blue for me.
Okay.
I wanted to tone down the blue a little bit. What would you do?
Okay. So good question. All right, let's go back to this here. Let's go back to Control R. We can do this either here or in Photoshop. So what we can do is actually go to the color section. Right down here. Go find a color mixer. Is it a color mixer? Yeah, color mixer. And you've got a luminance, you've got a saturation, you've got a hue. I think what you want to deal with is the luminance. And you want to target
The blue.
the aquas or the blues. We'll start with the blues. Well, let's see. Do I want luminance? No, I want saturation. Saturation. Go to the blues here. So luminance is taking the color and making it brighter or darker. This is dealing with desaturating that color. So go to the blues and just pull that out. So there you go. I like the blues. I'll tell you why. because the blues is a nice contrasting color against the reds of the trees.
Yeah, but is that rock or what is that?
That's a rock in the shade.
Really blue.
Well, in the shade they are. But if you don't want to, you just pull that blue on out. Yeah, we can go more natural.
Right.
Or go I mean, well, yeah, it could be moss on the rock, right?
Go to green.
So, are we done with my presentation? Who's next? Oh, you're next. Okay. I have 4 minutes? Oh, okay. They said I have 4 minutes, so I'm not going anywhere.
I noticed you had a lot of videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Are some of this on there or not?
Yeah, well, if you're on the mailing list, I'll send it to you. I'm going to send it to you.
But it's just the audio, right?
No,
No, it's the whole thing.
the whole thing, the whole visual, yes. Everything you see here. Silly.
This guy don't mess around.
No.
Steven, he's
Thank you. I like you.
now you like me.
Yeah, awesome.
Wow.
So you want to see another little technique for toning it down?
Yes.
This is a fun one. I did this one the other day too. I'll show you a difference between the two here. It's the same technique. Let's go Control C, Control V.
What's the pad that your mouse?
Wacom Intuos Pro is what it's called. And you will learn how to use this in my intermediate class. I won't teach the pad in the beginning class.
Okay, say it again. Watson.
It's Wacom. It's WACOM. Okay, hold on a second. We'll talk about that right afterwards. We got a few minutes. So just to show you, here's the same thing right here. That's with the value-based workflow, and that's the standard. That's the standard image.
Go back to the other one. Then. That's beautiful.
All right. There's life in this one,
Yes.
and this one is dull and dead.
Wow.
Dead.
So that's the picture you got.
This is the original. This is what the camera gave, the sensor gave me,
Yeah.
without manipulation, and that is
Nice.
with the technique we just finished talking about. And I may have one more to show you. Oh, here it is, right here. So that's a sensor. This is with the value-based workflow. With the sensor. See, there's a lot of information in there. But when color gets in the way, you have a tendency to ignore those values, and you never really realize how much better it can be.
It's funny, I might have deleted that one.
Yeah,
So
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why you shoot raw,
that's why you shoot raw all the
so
time.
that you can do this.
Yes, so you can do this. You can do this with JPEGs too, but it's better with RAW. RAW gives you all the information your sensor can produce for you.
Wow.
That was a good
Like
presentation.
that?
Are great.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so Wacom, this may answer your question. I'm using a Wacom pad. As a matter of fact, we'll go to Amazon and we'll put in, well, there's two versions. I'm using the SenseLab. It's a competitor to Wacom, which works just as well. So we'll look at the Wacom first. WACOM, Wacom Tablet Intuos Pro, right there. Oops, let me go back here real quick. There it is. That's the new Intuos Pro.
Does it work with your finger also? Or just
The pad, I don't think they. Does the new pad work with your finger? The Intuos Pro?
Yeah.
It does have touch, okay. But the SenseLab doesn't.
I don't think this one does.
Yeah, SenseLab doesn't. Yeah. All right. Okay. I guess that's it. So I have the SenseLab. I'll show you that right now. So we'll go to the SenseLab. It's a competitor to Wacom, and it's cheaper. There it is. See, the cost is cheaper. Yeah, but so we were asking about this, and we want to hear Stephen talk, and they can't hear me because Lois didn't give me a microphone. Testing, testing. There we go. Now everybody can hear me. Too late.
We're very good.
Thank you. All right, all right. Thanks a lot. All right, so let me stop the recording. Stop the recording.
Yeah, super.
All right, so I hope to see you guys in the upcoming Photoshop classes.
You got another one coming?
Well, I'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow is the judges